You are live, Mr. Chairman.
Good morning. We are now in session, Broadwater County Trust, July 8th, 2025, at 11:30 a.m. Do we have any public comments for anything not on the agenda or any subject that we have jurisdiction over? Hearing none, we'll proceed. Please review your minutes. I'm sure you already have, so. Those will be April 15th minutes.
Make a motion, we accept the minutes.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to approve the minutes of April 15th without corrections. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carried. Financial report.
Okay, Mr. Chairman, the board, if you will turn to your financial statement on the back page. It shows that the Stoke grant for $30,000 was paid out in May. So that's been paid out, and this is your current balance at First Premier Bank. Per the county, it was $3,147,497.80. That's in your First Premier Trust account. And the county account has $327,945. And I have no claims for you.
Very good. It appears we made a very, very wise decision to leave that money in that account. Any discussions or comments?
I have one. Was the Lions Club one taken out in April, or was that in May?
That's a great question.
11,500.
What was it, 11,005?
Mm-hmm.
That's a great question. I can find that out for you. I can find that out for you and email you that information. Kim, I don't know when it was paid. I didn't get the full report. I just got the Q cash report.
Yeah, I'm just trying to think when that was.
You got it though?
We got it. That's why I didn't see it on there though. But maybe it was in
Did I
April.
put it on the last? Yeah. Was that on the last one?
I think it's past tense.
We haven't had one
Is it?
since
Yeah,
April.
April.
April, yeah.
Yeah, because I did the fair and rodeo and I didn't do the Lions Club.
'cause we approved
So I'll
it
find out for you
in April.
and get back to you on that
Okay.
when it was paid. Okay.
Sounds
Okay.
great. How about claims?
No claims for you.
No claims.
Saved you money this month.
Wow. You want a stipend or anything? We can talk.
I'm good. I wasn't printing for you, so I didn't charge you for the ink. I haven't met for 2 months. So.
Okay. Baseball grant. Do I have anyone here presenting?
John is here. John Biley's here.
Oh,
You want me to step up?
please, introduce yourself. And
Yes, sir. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm John Bliley. I'm the president of Townsend Youth Baseball. I'm here today to talk to you a little bit about a grant that we've applied for through the trust board. A little bit about myself. Gosh, I don't know where to start. I retired from 35 years of military service, 26 years active. Through that retirement, I started doing things within the community, from wrestling to baseball and those kinds of things. My passion's been baseball, always has been, ever since I was growing up. So for me to be able to stand in front of you today on behalf of the Townsend Youth Baseball League is pretty amazing. We've grown tremendously over the years. You won't see this in any of the application process, but I took over as the president 2 years ago now. I've been involved in Townsend Youth Baseball for 7 years. Since that time, we've grown. In the last 4 years, we've grown from 93 kids in our community playing baseball to this year over 215. With that being said, we've had a huge amount of pressure with our Parks and Recreation and those kinds of things. So we've had to do things with the county, with Parks and Rec, that we've normally not done within our community. We came up with a tracking system to manage all the baseball fields so we could have practices and things like that. Because with that 215 kids comes 10 T-ball teams, 4 rookie teams, 2 majors teams, 2 minors teams, a Babe Ruth team, and guess what? We added high school baseball. So all of those teams, all of those 18 teams have to figure out where we're all going to practice, right? So that's been one of the passions of ours, is to work with Parks and Rec and with you folks to figure out what we can do right now with what we have to make it better for our kids and our community. And then more importantly, to kind of look at what the future of Townsend Youth Baseball would be, because huddled within Townsend Youth Baseball under our 501c3 is the high school program as well. Even though MHSA runs the high school program and those kinds of things, Townsend Youth Baseball fills in for the things that the high school can't supply. So, so that's kind of a little bit about myself. Yeah. And a little bit about the Townsend Youth Baseball program, I guess.
Very
Yeah.
good.
Yeah.
The grant itself, roofing materials, you want to elaborate on that a little?
Yeah, so if you've ever gone over to McCarthy Park previous to last year, the city and Parks and Rec really haven't done, well, not to bag on either one of them, just haven't had the interest, or more importantly, the funding to be able to maintain all those things over there, right? So over the past few years, what we've done is we've done some fundraising and things like that within the community. We've had some great sponsors, and what it's been able to do is it's been able to allow us to start putting maintenance into that. So if you'll notice over at McCarthy now, we started refurbishing some of those things. So there's 4 dugouts, 6 dugouts if you count the T-ball rookie field over by the Mormon field. But there's 4 cement dugouts that we started refurbishing or trying to refurbish. Some of those are painted right now. 2 of them are painted the Townsend blue colors. We need to do the other 4. And we also need to re-roof all those, and we need to re-roof the ones down at the T-ball rookie fields as well. That roofing, we've done a little bit of it. We've taken off the old shingle roofing and put some metal roofing on there right now, but we still have to do some soffits, and then we also have to redo over at the T-ball field. There's some tin that goes around those ones. They're not they're not the cinder block concrete ones like the other 4 on the big fields. So we're going to end up probably replacing some of that backing on those and the benches as well that go inside those. Yeah. What else would you like to know?
Any questions?
I got a couple.
Yes, sir.
So 18 total teams?
18 total teams right now, yes, sir.
Okay.
And just to elaborate a little bit. So we used to belong to Helena Baseball. That was part of our program. We currently belong to Gallatin Valley Baseball. So all of our kids come from all over, from White Sulphur, and we compete with all those individuals. Sheridan, Ennis, Manhattan, Three Forks. Every 5 years, we're on a cycle that we host baseball tournaments, right? And in order for us to be able to host those tournaments, we have to have that proper facilities. We need 3 fields that we have to be able to host those tournaments. We've been blessed enough to have such great relationships, not only with the county and Parks and Rec, but with the softball folks out at Connors Field. And last year we ended up dumping quite a bit of money into Connors to be able to get that up and running so we could have a couple games, because last year we hosted the tournament. Did a fairly good job. We like to use community support. We like to use community members. We like to use our baseball kids. The child labor, more importantly than putting in the effort into something that they love, shows, and it shows on those fields and things like that. So last year we ended up putting a little bit of our own money into Connors, moving the bases and those things to get it up and running so we could host that tournament. So, yeah. So 18 teams total. And then every 4 to 5 years, we're on a cycle to host the annual City League baseball tournament.
Okay, excuse me.
Yeah.
So is the girls softball tied in with your program at
It's
all?
not. So we've been trying, and you'll see this year, we've talked with them and worked with them over the past several years. They just haven't been able to get it going for whatever reason. But I know there's some parents that have reached out to me this year and asked for kind of a formula that we use, so to speak, right, a business model. And I think you'll see the youth softball start to take hold probably this next upcoming year. They've got a board that's kind of put together right now based off of our model with our board and how we do things. So I think you'll see that kind of come to fruition here in the near future.
Okay.
Yeah.
So on your sponsor matching funds in kind, $2,500, it talks about roofing. I'm assuming the roofing materials is donated?
Roofing materials we'll purchase.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and the in-kind labor is actually just going to be JKL Construction Company. They've done a phenomenal job helping us out with the work over there. They'll end up coming in. He actually, Jalen Schmucker actually works. He's one of our board members on the baseball board, but he also owns a construction company, and his kid's heavily involved in baseball. So him and his company are going to donate their time and everything to go ahead and do that. So of that $10,000 matching that we do have the cash, but we're also offsetting with the $2,500 that we would use as part of that match for that $10,000 in labor. And that's roughly what Jalen would charge us to come in and do those roofs. And
So the labor, at least it looks like on here, is $100 an hour?
yeah, roughly about $100 an hour is what he's going to charge us, yeah.
Okay. So then I guess I'm lost in the numbers here. Pardon me, but.
Yep, no, go ahead.
So you're asking for 10 grand from the trust board. You've got 10,000 in cash, but you just said the 2,500 is going to offset your cash?
Yeah, so part of that cash that we say on there is that $2,500 will come off of that. So realistically, it's going to be a $7,500 cash match from us. And
So
then-
it's still the 20,000, not 2,250 then?
correct. Yes, sir. It's only the 20.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right.
Okay. That makes way better sound. That's a 50%.
Any other questions?
I got a couple more questions. So in the checklist for
Yes.
projects,
Yeah.
it asks for plans and specs, roadway plans, any of that kind of stuff, and then it asks for a map showing a project area. So if somebody was to pick this up without knowing town real well,
Yep.
there's nothing in here that says where this project is going to be.
Yeah, and so, you know, I should preface to back up and just add a little bit about. So what I do now is I work for the state of Montana Disaster Emergency Services. I'm one of their mitigation coordinators, and I deal with grants and things like that. That's part of my job, is to help federal, state, and local entities like us apply for grants. So I was looking at this, so I was a little confused on a couple aspects of it, and one of those would be that, that aspect of where the actual work is going to be done, right? So all the work that we're going to be doing, if given this grant regardless, is over at McCarthy Park. We don't have anywhere else. There's no other place for us to expand to. The only exception would be if we have to host a tournament again and we got to take some of those dollars and put back into Connors, let's say, to redo some of the basing and some of the gravel and stuff that's gone over there. But right now what we're doing is we're just concentrating specifically on McCarthy Park, those 3 fields that are over there at McCarthy Park.
So you could supplement a map to go with this?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and I apologize if I didn't include that in the stuff that you have there, but there's 3 fields over there. If you walk into the park, the field on the right serves as the baseball field, and then it serves as the Babe Ruth field, and it serves as the Majors field right now. So you have 4 teams that compete for that space specifically. And it's kind of tough because we don't have the luxury, because high school has a longer season and they need practice time just as much as the rest of us do, right? And then you have games on top of that. So we have to factor in typically a 9 to 18 game season, depending on which team you're talking about here. and that competes with all that as well. So it's been challenging for us. We worked with Nicole and Vicky over at the city, and we've developed a simple tracking spreadsheet that allows us to track when everybody's using all these fields, to include Connors, to include the soccer fields and football fields, because we kick our T-ball kids out over there to practice. There's a couple of T-ball fields over at McCarthy, and we use those as well, but with 10 T-ball teams, it's tough to get them all in there during the week, so yeah.
So do you have, is your fencing gonna be some kind of movable fence? I mean, high school and Little
Yeah,
League
so
don't have the same fences.
no, they don't. So if you look on that big field out there, if you go out there and walk it, there's white peg holes in there. And what it is, it's for the removable fence for the majors kids. It's right around 200 feet from home plate to the edge of the fencing. And it's just a nylon type fence that just goes around, and those kids set that up before the game and take it down after. Yeah.
Which field is that?
That's the one on the right-hand side when you walk into McCarthy
Right,
Park.
okay, the big one
Yeah,
by
the
the
big
church.
one. Yes,
Okay,
ma'am. Yeah, by the other church over there. Yes, ma'am. Yeah. Yeah. And so we'll still end up continuing to use that. We have the fencing and everything. It's just a removable portable fence that we bring out during the season and put away during the season. Yeah.
So will the high school fence then be the more permanent one?
Yeah, so right now, with the way that the fencing is, we got about 275 feet on right field and about 320, I think, on left field. So the fencing that goes out there that the city has up just serves as that fencing. It's not a traditional baseball field, right, where you see kind of the half moon come out, but it is enough that where we have the ability to play out there, so yeah. And some of the other things that, we'll do, obviously we'll need a scoreboard out there, so we'll look at raising some funds for the scoreboard as well. One of the other things that we'll do is with that smaller field on the right-hand side with the chain link fence. I don't know if you've ever seen other parks, but we would like to put a cap on that. We've had a couple kids go for some baseballs and go over the fencing, and going over that chain link fence. So there's a protective half shell plastic tubing you can put on that, so we'll end up putting that on that fence as well when it goes around. Some of the other things that we've done, we've worked with the city. We've worked with the Boy Scouts of America. They're putting in a new play facility over there at McCarthy Park where the swing set's at. I don't know if you've seen the construction on that as well. So we're really putting a lot of time, effort, and energy into the community, and more importantly into McCarthy Park, and make it a place where everybody can come and families can hang out, whether you're having baseball, whether you're not, or just tennis or whatever you're going to be doing over there. So.
Anything else? If none, shall we make a decision?
My only comment before we go to a motion is it would have been handy from the application completion standpoint
Yep.
to have had a set of drawings that would have put the fields, maybe the interim fencing and all that kind of stuff.
Yep. And I can get that for you.
Talk about
That's-
construction, repair,
Then I would, okay.
concession.
So you have that, it's just not in here?
Yeah, I've got it. Yeah, because I
Included
sketched it out for the
everything.
city as well when we were looking at places to put the play set and things like that. So I'll look through this, and if I have them on this computer, I'll forward them over to the board right away. But you should have them by the end of today.
Very good.
Yeah, and I'll be able to tell you exactly where the fencing and the projects and everything are going, because I had to do that. We brought in I don't know if you've seen the big red shed over there. We had to do a schematic for the city to be able to bring that red shed in there, so it didn't interfere with the underground sprinkling systems and stuff, so, yeah.
I move we accept the grant.
Have a motion,
I would second that,
and we have a second.
provided we get the maps.
Yes.
On per, whatever you call that word.
We have a motion and a second for a $10,000 grant request for the baseball fields. Further discussion?
That would be my only, addition is that we get those drawings. They should have been part of this package.
Yeah.
But I know you guys are looking at how much time you got to do it in.
We do.
It's, the package is okay except for the drawings, and that's usually a pretty big deal. So as long as we get that, or ASAP.
Okay. And I'll get with Mr. Watson too, because I know he did a drawing for us. He had the high school kids do a schematic for us as well.
Okay.
Yep.
You want to put an addendum to your motion to include that map, Virgil?
Yes.
Okay. Second?
Second.
Second. So we have addendum to the motion to provide that.
Perfect.
Any further discussion?
I have one thing just really fast, just point of clarification is the landowner, it is only the city. That the county doesn't own any of McCarthy Park.
Okay.
Correct. Yeah.
Connors.
Yes,
They-
the county owns Connors.
Yep.
Yep.
Sounds good. Yep. Point of clarification. Noted. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say same sign. Motion carried.
All right. On behalf of Townsend Youth Baseball, I truly appreciate it. We got a lot of work ahead of us, so thank you very much.
Thank you for
You bet.
your service, John.
Yes, thanks.
It's an honor and privilege. Thank you.
Okay, update on the rodeo grant.
Denise is on the line. Denise is on the line, I believe.
Oh, very good.
Hello, this is Denise.
Yes, please, Denise.
Okay, well, I did provide a report to Agra very late this morning, so I'm not sure if she was able to even make copies or anything. So I can either read the report or highlight it or listen for your questions, whatever you guys would like. I'm actually up in Havre, otherwise I would be there.
Did you do the underground tour?
It's good.
Oh, well, isn't that funny that you should say that? We had our own underground tour because the house they bought that passed all inspections has a major sewer problem.
Oh,
Ooh.
So that's the only underground we've been dealing with.
condolences.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
We do have a copy of the letter. Give us a moment to brief it.
Yep.
Great.
Denise, you want to elaborate on the sound system?
Sure. Yeah. So when they first, when we got our final draft proposal from them that we based our application to you folks with, everything, it was still preliminary. So when they came out and actually, and it was in the wintertime. So when they came out and actually spent a couple different times at the fairgrounds, they were able to put their proposed system into some sort of a program, a software program, and then it does an analysis based on what they propose. And in the analysis, the software program determined that there were a couple major holes on being able to have that sound system adequately convey sound to certain areas of the fairgrounds. And so it basically sparked them to make some adjustments or additions to making sure that we actually get a quality system. So they added some speakers into different locations, things like that. And so then they sent us a computer graphic of how that changes, how the sound dynamics hit basically a full 360 around that outdoor arena with a strong focus of the grandstands and the concessions areas. So because of that, then that system also tells them, okay, this is what you need to purchase. And because it added about a $6,000 or $7,000, you know, in hindsight, you know, the trust board is beyond generous. You know, we probably should have given ourselves a buffer zone of like 10,000 just in case, but we didn't. One, we didn't think of that, and two, we probably still wouldn't have, because you don't really want to ask for something more than you could actually justify at the time. And at the time, we couldn't justify asking for an additional 10 from you guys. So that's why we have currently about a $6,000 or $7,000 shortfall. But as you can see with the Rotary, you know, we put that shortfall into it along with a couple other things that have come up, and they graciously have provided for the sound system shortfall with a cushion. So they've provided some extra with some cushion, because once they start putting that sound system in next week, it'll probably take them most of the week. Inevitably, I think like with any project, there's some things that end up happening, and it probably will cost a little bit more. We're hoping not. They don't think so, but that's kind of where we're at on the sound system and why that happened.
Okay.
So I want to be clear, we're not asking for more money from the trust board for anything. We did get some money from the Rotary Club, but as I mentioned, I think in the last paragraph, one of the main questions that I have, grants from different agencies all operate differently. Sometimes, and I don't know what the trust board does, some grants you have full reign to move funds from one task to another, no problem, as long as you don't go over budget. Other grants, you know, they give you like usually a 10% shift in funds from one task to another. Some just ask that you make a request and they move it, and some grants will not allow you to move funds from one project or task to another. And that's one question that the Rodeo Club definitely wanted me to get clarification on from the trust board, to see how you guys handle your grants in that respect.
Shooting from the hip, I'll answer that. We're not that stringent on that. You're a local club. What you're doing, regardless of the application, is recreation. So it does fit. We appreciate the guidelines coming in, but I believe we have some flexibility on that. Any comments on that, board, gentlemen, ladies? We have a little flexibility, so I don't know that we don't come back and audit you and say, did the dollars work perfectly? As long as you stayed within your budget and it was all applied to the proper applications.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think as long as the expenditures don't exceed what we have in the grant, and if it's an over part in one part or surplus or something that you wanted to move to another part, I think in your like monthly statement, just like this, if you just explain what those things were, so that we can always go back and say you didn't overexpend the grant that we granted, and you kept it within the work functions that were applied for. If you wanted to do something new and different, then I think that would be a different discussion.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. Okay, that sounds great.
Okay.
Thank you.
Any other discussion on the letter? I think it provides a pretty good update.
Yeah, thank you.
I'm good with it.
Good job, Denise. Thank you so much for your efforts on this very good letter. So, I appreciate you calling in. That helped too.
Okay, well, thank you guys again. Really appreciate it. It's been a fun endeavor, a little bit overwhelming like most projects are, but and I'll make sure that I give you a spreadsheet with the monies kind of just articulated into a table format. That's how my brain operates, but at least you have a written report right now, and I'll work on a cleaner spreadsheet that's not so cumbersome with so much information. I'm just trying to pare that down so it's clean and clear and easy to follow.
Excellent. That sounds great. If you need any help, Aubrey is
All right.
always available.
We've been in contact.
I'll take you up on it.
I'm here for it.
Thank you,
All right,
Denise.
well, hey, thanks guys and gals, and if I don't talk to you before the rodeo, we'll definitely be in touch soon thereafter, of course. But if you think of anything in the interim, and Auburn's been great keeping me online, and so again, the communication lines are open. Just at any point, if there's a question or concern, just let us know, okay?
Thank you.
Awesome. Take care. Appreciate it.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Thanks.
Mr. Chairman, I have a question when you're ready.
Of course.
Do you want me to reach out to Lions and also Stoke to make sure they're giving a report as well? I mean, that's kind of part
Yes,
of the grant
please.
process. I need to remind
Yeah.
them to come in.
Yep,
Because I've noticed there's been work done at the tennis courts, and I'll contact Liz
Yeah.
Bushman, maybe.
please.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay.
Good call.
And I can say the Lions Club
You can
is
take
still
care of that,
working
Kim?
on getting that in the,
Oh.
so we're still in the process of getting it installed and then taking the final,
It'll be ready by,
rodeo.
oh, all right.
Yeah.
Corn dog.
Oh, well, yeah.
You've already been disappointed.
Priorities, you know.
Priorities, yes.
You're gonna go get a corn dog and listen to the new sound system.
That's right, that's right. Okay, grant review, 24-25, public usage.
So Virgil asked to maybe talk a little bit about this, and I have I prepared a kind of a little bit of a rundown to let you know what has been happening from 2002 to 2025. Is that what you were, and also he wanted to discuss the usage about each of these things that you have granted, to think to how they're being used and if they're being utilized and how much and so forth. Is that right, Virgil?
Yes.
Is that correct? Okay. So your 2025 was the tennis, Stoke, which is ongoing, the rodeo fair, which we heard about, the Lions Club, corn dog, and then you just accepted the Bliley baseball. So far, those are your 4 grants for 2025. Am I missing anyone that you can think of? I think that's it. Your 2024 was the Historical Society Museum Master Plan, your Parks and Recreation Master Plan. The Old Baldy Pump was written in 2023, but the check, I believe, was written in January of 24. And going back to 22, it was your pavilion at the Holloway Park, your Stoke Skate Park, which was kind of finishing up, and your silos, which was 2019, but I think finished up in 2022. Or I'm not quite sure. That was on there when I looked at your website. It was 2019 for the silos. So there you go.
That was the master plan?
The master plan for the parks or the Historical Society?
No, for the silos.
Yeah, I don't know. It just said silos 2019. I can look
Okay.
that up.
I'm
on your
sure it was.
website.
That's when we started the master plan. Paid for that.
Okay. Some of it's just it has a. Oh, I don't know who that is. What's going in now? Is that? That's you.
No, that's Virgil.
I was like, I don't know what that's. Nobody said they were calling it. All right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Virgil, did that answer the questions?
You did.
Very good, excellent. Any discussion on that?
So can you send that out to us, Barbara?
Yes, it's also updated on your webpage on Bluehost, but I'm happy to just send it out to you. Yes,
Oh,
I add it.
okay,
I keep
okay.
it updated on your Bluehost site because you have a list of all the grants that have been. And I was going to ask you about one. It's kind of coded. I don't even know what it meant. Anyway, I'll have to look it up
On the
again.
web-
But yes, I can email it to you.
So what's the site you said? Blue?
It's your Bluehost site. If you go into the Broadwater, you pay for your own website.
Yes.
Okay, so if you go on the Broadwater County website, on your home page, because you're under administrative, if you go to your home page on the left, it says Trust Board website. If you click on it, it will take you out to your Bluehost site. And I upload all the agendas and the minutes there, as well as update
All the grants.
all the grants that you've done on the big
Okay.
old long list.
I was not aware of that.
I wasn't
Jesse, that kind of came upon, Jesse was kind of doing that for you too, so. Yeah, so that's kind of a cool place, so it's got some pictures on it and,
And
yeah.
it's up to date and current?
Well, yes, I have to add a few of your 25, you guys are rocking
Oh.
it, so I have to add, and probably the agenda of the day is not on there, but it is on the Broadwater
That
website.
historical information is really, really important.
Yes, yes, and maybe while you're meeting, I can get that up for you, so, if I have time.
After this meeting concludes, you can give us a tutorial on it.
Perfect, I will do that. Yep.
And so what's the public usage?
On that website,
Well, it's,
public
I'm
usage.
asking here.
Virgil wanted to know on each of these grants how much usage you're putting money into these grants, and he wants to know how much usage you think they're getting.
Oh,
That's what he was asking. Isn't that
Okay.
correct?
Yes,
Okay.
Meaning, are we getting
and where
our
does that
money's
come,
worth?
who supplies that? Where do we get that?
no, well, that was a question, from my point.
Okay,
You go by some of these things and you watch and there's no activity. So that kind of gives us a clue, and some of this might take a little bit of digging to do, but that way we'd have some understanding of, in a period of time, how much usage the grant process did as far as that particular project.
Mhm.
See, some of them are gonna be very active and some are gonna be very limited. And I think that's something the board needs to look at in future grants and this sort of thing.
Like
You
that.
know, how big is the use gonna be? It's,
so is that
And-
something that we ought to add to the application, is anticipated use? So that we could, I think the it would be really helpful.
yeah, well, it would be, and then, you know, some of them are gonna have to finance, but, you know, they'll meet the requirements, but we'd have some idea what the use of that particular project is gonna be into the future. That's basically what I was interested in, because, you know, we put a lot of money into the canopy at the fairgrounds, and the use on that is maybe once or twice a year with a lot of people. And these, to me, these are things that we need to be aware of. In other words, how much usage are we going to get when we approve a grant for whatever happens to be?
And that would be, for instance, like the skate park,
Yes.
like that, and then even going, how many corn dogs are we gonna sell?
Hey, right, exactly, and how many
Yeah.
times are we gonna use that thing,
Yeah.
you know, and, yeah,
That's the type of information you're looking for.
right.
Yeah, I think that, and that'd be useful to us as far as the community is concerned also.
I really think in the back of our minds, we factor that in when we're approving these grants. I really,
Mentally,
I think we really do, because it's like, is this gonna enhance our community? Is this something really needed in our community? You know, the different uses, and you can drive around and see a lot of that skate park and that pavilion that we put up there, but I don't remember the shelter at the fairgrounds that you're talking about.
I mean,
Can't
big one,
go
the
with the
big.
grants.
Where they show the
Or
animals.
Oh, that,
For
oh, I see
100,000.
weddings and stuff out there already going on a lot, you
Well, it'd be
know.
interesting to,
They have doggy shows. I've seen a lot of, because
Maybe
we
that's
drive
Larson.
that.
Larson can tell you how much that's being
I've
used.
actually seen a lot of activity out
Lisa.
there.
I think we could dovetail that into when they give us an update at the completion of the project, also elaborate on their usage.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's a great
good
idea.
that let them, it'd put a burden on them to track that, so. Give us good feedback too. Thank you, Virgil.
So do we need that, to add that into the application process or the monthly reporting that's in here that
I
we
think
would
we
like an
do.
estimate
Yeah,
of
I think we actually do.
annual usage or the types of usage or
Yep,
something?
yep.
So where it says monthly reports of progress on the projects will be required from grant sponsors, you could probably put it there, right? You would want to put it there.
Yes.
Yeah.
In addition, reports should include usage.
Activity, usage and activity,
Usage, yeah.
or something like that, yeah.
That'd be good.
Yeah.
That'd really be
Nice
helpful.
adjustment.
Yeah.
Debbie, do we need that approved by any, or sorry, Jesse, sorry. Do we need that approved by any commissioners? Because I don't want to get away for that. No, yeah, no, sorry, to put you on the spot like that.
As far as I know, I know.
To change the grant application? Okay, so I can do that and just send out another copy and save it? And
Yeah, because the grant application is the trust board.
Okay, all right, okay.
Oh, right, right.
Very good, we'll move on. BCDC Trails. Al, I think you're on the dock.
I guess that's me. So, I didn't bring all the maps. I think you've all seen all the maps. They really haven't changed much. We are in the, what I would call the final draft phase version of the final draft
That's,
of the document. Maps are, I wish we had some kind of GIS capability that somebody could pull a road map system up that they could use the GIS system to do a nice professional job of the maps, because right now they're still Al's crinkly lines, which may better represent the on-the-ground stuff, I don't know. But so a couple things that have I think, come to the forefront for us in the plan is that the Missouri River Paddlers Trail that the state and Gallup Valley Land Trust established from headwaters to Toston Dam. Fish, Wildlife, and Parks is all on board about extending that clear down to the takeout here at the bridge. We've had now some discussion with BOR about trying to get a letter from them that says, yeah, they're on board as a partner to use that, to designate that as the takeout. And so we're waiting for that, but we did get some action going on
The
that.
takeout is where, Al?
It's at the Indian Road Campground,
Okay.
the boat ramp that goes off into the mud puddle.
But, yeah.
There's, the Fish, Wildlife, and Parks is actively looking at maybe trying to reestablish that ramp site on their property a little farther down in that channel. So there would be more active water to get in there. So, but who knows how fast that's gonna happen, and it's basically, from a mapping standpoint, still the same place.
Yeah,
So,
the takeout then was in the Indian Creek where the campsites are.
no, it's in the day use,
Say again?
the day use part of that. So the
Yes.
one, the
Yeah,
day use
okay, it's
piece,
in that area.
yeah,
Uh,
yeah.
You know, some years ago, we tried to get that ramp active, and the one that shot us down was the Corps of Engineers, because we needed to get in when at low water and do some excavation so that there was water to get boats and this sort of thing in and get them out. And we couldn't get an authorization to do that earthwork, or it was restructuring really the flow in the river as it comes under the bridge and this sort of thing. So just a heads up for
Yeah.
you there, okay?
Well, I think that's why Fish, Wildlife, and Parks is looking at moving it downstream
Yeah.
to get down in that bigger channel where there still is water
Yeah.
going through there.
Actually, a stream flow.
Yeah, Yeah.
And which group, what designation group it goes from the headwaters now to Tossin Dam, and now they want to extend it from Tossin Dam down to here. But what group is that again?
Well, the Trails Committee is, when we found out that they already had the thing established to Tossin Dam, then we looked at it under the Trails Committee as, we're looking at hike, bike, equestrian, and then when we saw that, it was like, well, okay, so we'll throw the river in. It's a waterway. And there's a lot of places that have canoe trails or those kind of things. So the Trails Committee has it in the plan now as a potential trail, which would be from the dam down here. So there's like 4 sites along the way that are all fish, wildlife, and parks, or 3. The dam, the Tostin Bridge, and Deep Creek. So those are all fish, wildlife, and parks access sites already. So they're already in. There's no other ownership except for Indian Road, which is BOR. And that's why we've been trying to get the BOR to come on board and say, okay, they're okay with designating that as a takeout. Because right now
that does sound pretty good. I would hope that they would not try to place any restrictions on there with like motorized boats or something like that.
This is nothing more, from the Trails Committee's standpoint, it's nothing more than a designation of a, like they call it, a paddler's trail. It's the same as from the dam up. There's no restrictions on the river.
And that's good. And I just didn't want to see, once you start saying it's paddlers, then they're going to say, well, we don't want motorized boats on there. So I just would hate to see any restrictions placed onto that.
There's not been, with anybody on the committee or with Fish, Wildlife, and Parks, there's not been any discussion of trying to do a whole bunch of, management things or anything. We're just trying to designate routes. And so if it was going to be designated, then there's probably some, who's going to keep track of the signboards, and and I know the Upper Reach, they have a float once a year to go down and make sure they pick up garbage on the river and all that kind of stuff. It'd probably be the same thing that we do. So that's additive. The other is a discussion about Broadwater County being the donut hole of trail systems in central and southwest Montana. Gallatin Valley has extensive trails. Lewis and Clark has extensive trails. Jefferson's got a little bit around Boulder, and they're trying to build some stuff along the interstate. And so as we looked at that, it was like, so what does that mean for Broadwater County? Well, so what we came up with was we ought to identify those routes that connect Broadwater County to Marr County, to Gallatin County, to Jefferson County, to Lewis and Clark County. So of all the trails that the committee put together, we've now put in some designations of, if you want to get to Marr County, you can go up Duck Creek and down Birch Creek. Or you can go up Dry Creek. You can't go up Deep Creek unless you're really trying to put your life in your hands. So we're not showing that. And then around the south end of the Elkhorns, Lone Mountain Road, and across to Jefferson County. Lewis and Clark is Highway 284 or 287, those routes. So that's an additive that we've recently had, but that description now is all in the plan. So it makes it bigger. It talks about trying to get into the live, work, play things that a lot of frankly, a lot of grants are looking at that kind of stuff. What are you doing in your community to make it a place that people want to live in, that can work and play stuff? So that's kind of where that's at. So we've been through 3 or 4 edits of this draft. There's a little bit more to do. The problem with it taking time is that time brings with it new ideas. And so we've kind of just said, okay, we're going to take what we got now, and that's where we're gonna go. And then we'll come and talk to the county, and we'll come and talk to the city, because one chunk of it is all the city stuff. And what exists, and what's potential, and a lot of it is, you know, county roads. They're routes right now, and they're places that people can go use. And if at some point in time, there's enough interest by some people that they want to pick it up and make some kind of a trail. So we're tied in really close with the Park and Rec's Parkland Master Plan. And that plan also references work of the Trails Committee. So the Centerville Road, Canton, out to the parklands out there is tied together really close. So we've tried to pick up all those kind of things. It's probably more than any of us ever thought we would get into. But you know, I think the Centerville Road, the Canton Road are certainly going to be real high on opportunities to work with the county on. The Silos Road, I think that neighborhood out there might come together with some stuff for that piece. And then the city, that's going to depend on what the city wants to do, but it identifies all those things. The one hole we still have is trying to tie routes to emergency evacuation centers. We struggled for a couple of years trying to get a list of evacuation centers, where they are and how to tie trails in. We've got a new contact now for that, so we'll see if we can get that pulled together. Trail stuff. We've got some people with us that are can give us some cost estimates on different kinds of material to use and stuff. If you've gone to the M in Gallatin Valley in Bozeman and looked at not only the trail but the parking lot, that stuff is all a composite material. It's not. It looks like asphalt, but it's not asphalt. It's a composite material that they use. They put it down and then they roll it, and it looks just like asphalt, and weather's really good. Anyway, so that's kind of where the trails stuff is at. The thinking is, from the BCD standpoint, the Trails Committee, we're just going to finalize the draft trails plan, and then it doesn't take a formal act by anybody to change it. If the city or the county want to adopt it in some fashion, and then they go through that, that's fine. But the BCDC and the Trails Committee is, I think we're getting close to where we can be with it. So
All right.
I'm sure there will be opportunities to work with the trust board.
I'm sure. I applaud that idea of interconnecting the counties.
Yeah.
I think, and then once those are established, and get those filed with Onyx Trails, the subscription site would expand that and then gives some notoriety and usage.
The other thing we tried to do, and it's a matter of time and stuff, but connecting the river trail from the dam down here, but then to provide a digital trail down through the chain of lakes that would follow where Lewis and Clark actually traversed underneath the water surface. So people can actually go traverse and go, yeah, okay, yeah, I followed the trail, you know, it was 40 feet down, but that's where they were. This is an interesting thing, and we've tried to make connections with Heritage Foundation in Great Falls, and it's a time thing, you know. So, questions?
Doing
I
good.
think one of the things that the Trails Committee is looking at, has in their last chapter, is, you know, what's next. We think trying to get to like all the organizations and make presentations, get to the school, city, county, make sure that we've got all those things. And there might be some comments there that we might have to go back and either clean up or harden up or fix or something, but we've heard a lot, so I think we're pretty close.
Look forward to summation on that. That's really terrific, and applaud your efforts on that. That's,
Yeah.
I think it's gonna be terrific.
Getting that done is gonna.
You wanna quiz him anymore, or should we let him send him off the hooks?
No, I think we're good.
Okay, we'll move on. Thank
Change
you, Al.
topics.
Discussion on the letter of your rep.
Yeah, I haven't read that one.
So my apologies for getting it to you late, but this came at us last Thursday afternoon with a time frame of the 15th of July
Whoa,
to get the letters in. And so Audra was really good, worked really hard to get the agenda revised, to get this on the agenda. I apologize for not getting the draft to you any sooner, but and so please, what's going on is the BOR has taken the value planning report that they did for the silos based on the master plan, of which they did and did not follow. But they've got a budget opportunity. So they've got, you know, all kinds of budget lines that they can go after. One of them is the aging infrastructure bill. It's a aging infrastructure and jobs bill. And so they are submitting a budget proposal under that bill. And what it requires that anything over a certain percentage of their budget or a certain amount, they have to do it's not something that they can just do out of the Montana or Denver offices. This has to go through a special review. So we know it's substantial. We don't know how much. And the Citizens Action Group is still trying to make headway with some changes that bring it better in line with the master plan. So this letter is just to support the BOR in the efforts to bring money to the Silos project.
Oh, okay.
And so part of the aging thing is the lack of long-term maintenance on a project area. The tie-in with the community, jobs, economics. I'm sure I'm missing something here. But in drafting this, I tried to hit those 4 or 5 things that are kind of identified in the aging infrastructure thing. Safety and health, which is big for the site. I mean, that was the whole thing that started the whole thing. And the fact that, you know, the only major work out there was the bay, and that's been a huge success. But the result of that then is that, you know, the campground needs an upgrade, and there's a lot of safety and health issues and all that kind of stuff. The bays need excavating. So this is, I tried to write this to be supportive of those kinds of concepts, the economics, the jobs, the community, the business stuff that rely on the kinds of things that go on out there, those kind of things, and just be supportive. And they want to know, you know, why you've been engaged. Obviously, the trust board that's our charter.
Well, and we're recreation in
Yeah.
Broadwater County.
And so, you know, I tried to get in here, you know, the trust board's been there since the beginning. Digging the bay, working on the master plan for 10 years. That was trust board money that went to all that
virtually
stuff.
all the financing came out of this,
Yeah.
this group.
And so I tried to get at that in there without getting it, keep it to one page. That's what they are saying, is just keep it a one-page letter. So that's what I tried to do. Now, if it doesn't say that, then I guess I'd like the feedback to do that, but I understand you're sitting here reading it right now trying to do it. But I think the big thing would be, if we can agree, we can be supportive of a letter, we've got some days to fine tune back and forth.
I don't think we require a motion to be in supportive of the letter. I'm certainly
Right,
pro.
right.
So.
Yeah. So we've got some time for you guys to read through this, give me some feedback. Jesse, if you guys have some feedback.
Yeah.
My understanding is that the BOR has contacted the county. I don't know who else. They just sent one letter to me, and then I said, so can I send it out? They said, sure. So I sent it to the county. But I've also sent it to MBAC and BCDC, because they put money into it.
I like that last paragraph.
We, the chamber, could probably do
Yeah.
something. I don't know that we got it as a chamber, but we did some
You
support
guys-
money.
you guys did,
$5,000
yeah,
bucks to start
yeah.
with, yeah.
And so I think, that was in the master plan, and we ought to, yeah.
And I think we could get a letter out on our letterhead in time, but I need a little coaching on what to write.
Okay, yeah,
And then I'll give it to Rachel across the street at Reading Leaves, and she'll probably do it.
okay. You just have them give me a call, or they send me an email, or whatever.
Okay.
But yeah, that's what's going on with them, trying to get the letters of support into the BOR so they can have a better chance of being successful at getting some
Money.
funding into the silos.
Very good.
Mr. Chairman, I have a question, a technical question I'm gonna ask. So if you, looking at your letter, I printed it off, if you want the BCTV letterhead on there, I don't know if you knew this, but it was a mountain, and it's with your trust board emblem on it from your website. This will make it's too big, so it's gonna make the letter 2 pages. Is that okay, or not? Or would you rather not have the letterhead on there at all?
Well, that's one of the things they said specifically, is they
Yeah.
wanted the letterhead on there.
Okay, so if I put the letterhead on there, then
Okay.
it'll be two pages, not back to front, probably, you probably
Okay.
want to. And then your date on here, it has to be to you before the 15th?
It has to be the BOR by the 15th.
Okay, so,
And
I'm
so
gonna-
we have an electronic address for Ryan Newman.
So you can send it, but you would like Mr. Chairman's signature, I would imagine, on the bottom of it.
Yeah.
Okay, so I leave for Missoula on the 10th, so we have to get together and maybe after the meeting and coordinate how we're gonna
Do that.
change that, and then get that signed, and then get it scanned, and then get it.
And
Sounds good.
if we need to do some adjustment on the wording to get it back to a page, yeah.
Yeah, because your letterhead is, I tried to make it really tiny to get it on one page.
Yeah.
It's super tiny. It will be hardly able to be read. I tried to work on that this morning, and I just kept shifting it
okay.
down. So, anyway.
But maybe
Okay.
2 pages is not a big deal.
Just the signature
The
will be
the letterhead was one of the things they specifically
Okay.
said they wanted it on the letter.
Okay.
Yeah. I've
So
got
change the
that.
letterhead.
I can show.
Just kidding.
I don't think you want me working on that.
I'm kidding.
Put it on
I'm
a
kidding.
copy machine and just shrink it down and then tape it on?
I can.
There's
Oh, I
an
can shrink it.
idea.
That's not the
Is it
issue.
photocopy?
You're just like, you're giving me a magnifying glass to see it, is the problem.
All
Take a
right.
Okay.
picture.
I didn't think.
I'll
of
get
that.
with you guys and
Okay.
Great.
before we leave. Okay, thank you.
Sounds excellent. Okay.
Thank you.
Do we want to withdraw funds from our trust account?
How much is in there?
I don't think so.
At the moment, my position would be to stay, not take anything out. And we have a fair amount of money to finance grants
We do.
at the moment, unless to get a huge one, and
What's in there?
let's see if we can make it grow.
What's in there?
I agree.
No, the other one. Premier.
This is,
Oh, 3
this is
million.
Premier's.
Oh, yeah, okay.
3 millions, Premier is $3,147,497. So,
That's doing good.
yeah, we're doing quite
Right
well.
on.
We do have a
That's correct,
threshold
isn't
of
it, Al, your phone number?
$2,750,000 on
Have Rachel
that. But,
tell you.
Yeah, we're doing good.
yeah,
Thank you, Doug.
Yeah.
so with $328,000 available at this time. I'm in concurrence.
Mm-hmm.
We'll just let it ride. New business, anything shaken for next month, or anybody want to add anything? Hal?
I will just give you an update, if that's okay, on the Canyon Ferry tourism research that's going on. You know, as a result of all the stuff on Canyon Ferry and trying to get usage and stuff, nobody had any solid data of total use on the lake. And so we contacted the Institute for Tourism and Recreational Research out at University of Montana last year. They started their research in, I think, January. So they've been out working the lake, making contacts. They give people contact cards, they do surveys on them, stuff. And so that's ongoing. I know they've been hitting the holiday weekends. They were over for the walleye tournament. I don't know if they were at the silos or where they were, because they have their study stuff that they do. And but anyway, that's ongoing out there. And it'll go until wintertime this coming year, and it'll take them probably a year to get the reports out. But anyway, that'll give us something that Canyon Ferry's not had since 2003, which was before the side of Broadwater Bay was developed, and consequently the kind of use we see. So
That report in 2003 was part of what we used to establish this organization, and we used it in Washington, D.C. In excess of 30% of the people using the lake went through Broadwater County to access facilities because Broadwater County did not have any facilities. And so that's substantially changed.
yeah, because the Fish and Game's Creel census stuff they do showed 60% of the fishing use on Canyon Ferry was out of the silos. So that's new since the last survey.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that survey was done to, was it the Skidway Bay? What was it? It was north of Goose Bay. They wanted to develop a complete project in there so there would not be any development in Broadwater County. So the powers that be that controlled the lake at that period of time wouldn't allow any development at Broadwater County, such as Engineers Bay. They offered to do some excavating for us, and the excavation was forced to a bay that was dry most of the time, so it would not enhance the silos in Broadwater County to prevent competition. My understanding was to prevent competition from the other organizations. Finally, some calmer minds were established and allowed us to develop a safety area, because we swamped how many boats? We sank 5 and beached 9 during our fishing tournament during that period of time. No place to go. Now we have a place to go. Old history.
But history.
That history.
Yeah.
History.
Okay, next meeting is scheduled for August 12th.
I gotta look. I'm just checking.
Check your calendars.
Well, I got to cut and color at 1. If we're done by 1.
There's another meeting in here at 1.
Yeah.
Today.
Still a quarter to 1.
Well,
That said that since we
not
got here. They
correct.
need battery.
That's been that way since I got in here.
He's no battery.
I'm okay with the 12th.
I'm okay.
Looks good to me.
Same here.
I don't leave for Bolivia till the 14th. fishing.
We're buying-
Food for the family.
That's right.
Priorities. Okay, let's plan on that. And, anything else for the good of the order? Hearing none, meeting adjourned. Thank you.
You.